that thankfully now, because of some of the medication that's there, people are able to live more successful lives because of modern pharmaceuticals. But it has changed that perception. In 1990, pharmaceuticals were, I believe, a $106 billion business. Today in the United States, it's a $325 billion business, and in the world, it's an $800 billion business. Now let me pause right there and do that math. In the United States, it's $325 billion. Worldwide, it's $800 billion. We consume almost half of the world's pharmaceuticals. What's that say about our society? We've got to change the way that our kids think about themselves and about the way that they see problem solving. Because that's really what we see is, I want to escape my reality. I'm having a tough time. There's a lot of stress, and I want to get out of that. But it is the kids who are most often experimenting. And 70% of them report that they get the drugs from a friend or a family member. And so when it comes to me talking about methamphetamine, I can say, the source is in Mexico. Afghanistan, the source is heroin in Afghanistan. But where's the source here? It's often grandma and granddad's medicine chest. And the good part about that is it means we can do something about it. And we can really make a difference. And it's got to start with the way that we help our kids think of sitting down and having that conversation, not just about heroin and methamphetamine and cocaine and all of that, but about pharmaceuticals and about how to live a healthy life through exercise and counseling and whatever you need to be able to do that. And to be able to support them and take some of that stress off. We also have to look at what we can do. In law enforcement, I'm very excited because about 6 months ago, I went to our local DEA guy, the head of the DEA office in Boise, and I said, I've got about 6 guys who do nothing but work on these illegal substances, the ones I just talked about, the illicit ones, but I know that pharmaceuticals have just as big an impact on our society as those drugs do. And I want to do something about it, because we can do something about it. I know right now, in Ada County, or actually in the Treasure Valley, the #1 prescriber of OxyContin is a nurse practitioner. General practice, followed by #2, a cancer specialist. She is illegally putting OxyContin out the door for generic pain. You come in, you lay down $300 for an office visit on the counter, and you get your prescription. And you walk out the door. And you sell about 2/3 of them in order to make the money to come back in and pay $300 more and do it again. And so with the DEA, actually the supervisor in Boise took that to the Seattle field office and took it to Washington, D.C., and now Idaho is going to be one of 9 states in the nation with a diversion program. It means the DEA is funding for local and federal law enforcement officers to come together and do something about this. It's at 0.1% who are illegally prescribing drugs and sending them out the door, or maybe stealing them from a pharmacy. But the supply's right here and we can do something about it. And the third thing that you can do in particular, because you're the connection. You see the patients, and especially when I think of dentistry, I think of, I don't like going. I remember when I was a kid, I hated going, right? You want to provide good customer satisfaction. Some of you may be obligated to provide customer satisfaction, and that there's patient surveys to give a feedback score, and if you don't ease that pain as much, you may not be as well thought of in the business of delivering dentistry as somebody who delivers more drugs. Be conscious about it, and I know you do that. What I ask you to do is take the opportunity to educate kids and adults, because what happens? It's cheap. If something happens to me and I get a prescription, and I bring it home, and I get 7 days worth of prescription, and in 2 days the pain's gone, I don't want to get rid of that because it cost me some money. So it sits on the counter. And then it sits on the counter. And then Grandma and Granddad get 20 bottles that sit on the counter. That's just sitting there waiting. Educate the parents. Educate the parents to educate the grandparents. Educate the kids. Talk to your kids. It's a video game. The Adventures of Pharmacist Phil. Take advantage of that to be able to make that connection and help teach kids, you know what, you can get through the tough spots in life without having to rely upon drugs. I hope you guys are having a good conference. Thanks for the opportunity to just say a few words tonight. Thanks for what you do. Enjoy the rest.